What's up? Just here on Memorial Day, just vibing. Listen to some hip hop mix tracks. You know, I was gonna draw some philandroids, and we might get to doing that, but you know what? I kind of want to do something else. I want to do something a little different. I need to change something real quick first, though. Okay, so let's get into it a little bit. I had some ideas that I wanted to go over. I had this idea for a fantasy sword illustration that's been on my mind, but I wasn't sure I was actually going to draw this. But since I'm here and I'm drawing and it's on my mind, I think I'm going to go ahead and try and do a little something. I'm going to see if I can pull it out of my head the way I'm thinking of it. So I was doing some writing, right? And I was working on this like this fantasy kind of novel kind of thing. And one of the things in that was I'm looking for this file. I was talking about this one sword in particular that is supposed to have like these magical properties to it. But so in my mind, I was thinking like maybe it looks like a sword but with fire, right? So I'm also working on finishing this this manga called Demon Slayer. I mean, it's a really famous one. I'm like halfway through it right now. So while I'm on this journey of finishing this manga, I decided, you know, they do a lot of stuff with swords and like magical things, like magical breathing powers and stuff like that. So I was like, you know what? I had this idea for a sword. So I'm drawing a sword. I think of just the straight line, right? Just right off bat, I need something for it to kind of like how long is this thing? What does it really encompass? And let's make sure our pencil, I don't want the smooth one, I want the non-smooth one. So we're just gonna do Just a rough sketch. And let's make that the... Sure, why not? We're not looking for perfection right now. We're just looking to kind of get this thing on the board. Right? Something like that. But now, when I think of this sword in particular I'm thinking of, so Demon Slayer has a lot of stuff with like fire and stuff, so I just gotta do some real quick squiggly lines with fire. I'm thinking of, instead of an actual blade with metal and fire around it, what if the blade itself was the fire, right? And then of course you got the handle. And something that's really unconventional would be to have the handle wrapped in bandages, but then the bandages aren't fully tight. Like you might have some strings and things like coming off of it, which would be like, man, that's really in the way. How are you going to do that? But I don't know. I think you could do something really interesting with it. And then one of the handles in the Demon Slayer comic, so I'm actually reading the physical comic, is like the hilt itself is like fire, a fire shape anyway, right? So something like that. Let's actually get rid of this circle because it's just kind of throwing me off. Something like that. So you got the handle with bandages. You would think if you're drawing, if you're gonna have fire, you know, you wouldn't want the bandages to be burning up. So let's actually get to the next. Let's make another layer right next to it. Have our onion skin on. Let's see if we can tighten it up a little bit. And then with that, so we are going to be a little bit more careful and how tight our details are. So I'm trying to imagine what bandages or wraps and things like that will look like. Something like that there. See, already it's looking a little bit tighter, a little bit better, right? But then now let's put like a kind of like a little metal piece right there in between. And then, so I'm already kind of a little bit higher than the hilt itself, than what I wanted it to be. But we're gonna see if we can still kind of finesse this thing. I don't want to go off my model too much. I want to try to stick to my model, my pre-drawn, as much as possible. Nope. Let's see that. I'm looking at it. That's a little too low. Because if you're thinking about the flatness of a hilt, it doesn't go that far down. You know, it needs to be a little flatter. Something like that right there. And now see, this one needs to come up a little higher. It's alright for right now. You know, we don't have to make this perfect right this second. But I think right now it's got the look of what I'm going for. So now this is going to be the tough part. This is where I have to make my imagination meet the paper a little bit. Because I'm thinking, again, this is not going to be a blade. Or if there is a blade, I'm thinking maybe minimally. Like there'll be like little pieces of it. But right now, what we're gonna do, we're gonna try and just do it off of memory or do it off of my imagination, and then we'll come back and probably change up what I'm thinking of. But first, I need to kind of see what fire looks like. Okay, okay. I got an idea. I got an idea of what I'm thinking of, what I want to do. See, fire for me has always been a very volatile. I mean, fire is a very volatile thing. So let me turn this off because it's kind of throwing me off a little bit. Right now I'm just doing on some random fiery squiggly signs, shapes, but I might have to go back and delete some of them, to be perfectly honest with you. Because I want it to be as natural as possible. Might have some wisp down here. So there is no blade, remember. It's just a sword made of, it's a blade made of fire. I was like, man, wouldn't that be interesting if you could had a sword, and then it was like flames just coming off of it, just billowing, and you go to cut something, and then the flames itself would move as if it were a solid blade, and the flames would trail behind it, but there would be a solid edge of flame that would cut. I think that could be really neat. I might have to draw another picture right after this to show like the swing of it. Maybe I could animate that. You know what's funny? I haven't sat down and actually animated something since December, apparently. I didn't realize it had been that long. It's only because I'm working on my actual cartoon. That I haven't been making time to animate other things. I just kind of fell out of love with not animating itself, but animating other people's stuff. I don't like the idea of animating somebody else's characters as much anymore. I don't want to animate Batman and Superman as much because it's not my characters, you know? I feel like that's what I should be doing. As a creator, as an artist, I owe it to myself to be doing that. So something along those lines, and then let's make sure we get these bandages, right? And they have to be sort of just keep it loose. Let's do it right in this little area right here, and we'll make sure we delete any wrapping marks that is right at that point, because we'll come back up in and tighten up. We'll tighten that up. And then I like the idea too that the further up the hilt you go, the smaller the wraps are. So somewhere in this area here. Oh, oh. Something like that right there. Something like you right there. Him at the bottom. But then at the bottom here, you might have a tie-off kind of thing. Alright, let's make sure we save. Let's turn off our onion skin and get back to the sword. And it's straight. It's not exactly the full shape of what I would have wanted. I love how long the hilt is. The problem is the hilt might be just as long as the sword itself. I don't know if that is... or it's at least half as long. But we can make it look tighter if we actually squeeze this down a little bit. It might do that by doing something like that right there. Stretch it out a little bit. A blade of flames. It reminds me of this one show I used to watch. There's one anime called Tenchi Muyo. Tenchi Muyo was really cool because I remember he had this lineage where he was like a space pirate alien thing or something like that, half something like that. And his grandpa had gave him this this sword hilt that looked kind of like this. I thought it was so cool back in the day. And then he could only use it if he channeled his own energy within his body, and it would become a blade. It would become a blade like this, like a lightsaber or something apparently. Yeah, it was something like that. It was pretty neat. And I just love the idea of a sword that is disconnected from its blade itself. And then you could do something like that. So not a lot of it is not exactly coherent. It doesn't really look like it's supposed to make sense. And that's what's kind of cool about fantasy. Is that you can make up the rules and it doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to look like how it's supposed to look. Kind of like that. But then I think we need to really define the guard a little bit better. Maybe something kind of like that. Let's take this out. What we'll do. Something like that there. So, I mean, that's a big difference from this to this, right? So now I think what we could do is refine this even more. We'll take it to the next level. And we will use our smooth brush this time. Let's make sure we save. I might even color it too. And let's turn on our onion skin. So this is where we're gonna have to be really tight about how we draw the some of these lines. And let's start with the handle, of course. See, I don't like that. This is where I'm gonna get really picky. It's not horrible. That is. So I'm using this new version of Toon Boom, and the way they do their smoothing action is not it. This is not it at all. Let me see if I can fix this. Man. What if I put maximum 100% smoothing? See what it does. Jeez. Is that what I'm looking for? I don't know. It's like it's changing the contour of my hand movement completely. Maybe let's start with the... I don't know the names of these parts of this sword and everything. Maybe I should. I don't know. Wow, it just completely... Man, Toon Boom is... This is not it. Unfortunately, I might have to just go with it, even though it's not what I'm trying to do. That's probably about as good as I can get it right there, honestly. And what's unfortunate is like this part right here is the most straight of this entire drawing that I need everything to be. Everything else is gonna be so fluid, but the problem is I can't even get it to do that. No, I don't like that. Man, I miss this right here. I miss just drawing something beautiful. Seems like lately things just get so obscured in life, and that you have to be working on something so logical and something that makes money. It's got to make money. If it ain't making money, then why are you doing it? You know. And at least that's the mindset I've been having for myself a lot lately. And you know, with that, unfortunately, you lose out on a lot of fun. You know, just having fun and doing these things that you love to do. For what? For why? I don't know. Throwing in my own little superlatives here. Actually, I might do something coming out there like that. See, this wasn't in the original drawing, but as you start drawing, you start doing little things like this to make it stand out a little bit better, a little bit more. I like that a lot. I really like that a lot. And while we're down here, we can go ahead and start drawing on the, let's do the wraps first. We need to do the portion. I'm not sure if I'm going to put more details into this part here. Honestly, for this, I might need to drop the lines down just a little bit more. Let's do this here. Yeah, something like that. So I'll tell you what, before we start putting more details in, I think that's really great. Let's put more detail into, let's actually draw the other parts of the wrap, of the wraps that's on here. Kind of like that. Then let's draw this right there. Something like that. Bam. And then bam. Very unconventional, very not very sword-like. It's like, why would you put these things on your sword? It doesn't make sense. But it's not supposed to make sense. It's supposed to be cool. It's supposed to be neat. I'm like, what did I draw right here? Nah. I'll probably make those different colors to begin with anyway. But then now let's actually get back to drawing the bandages across actual wraps and things like that. Make sure we're saving very regularly. And again, it was just in my head, you know, living in my head, you know, rent free, you know, and it's like, man, I just got to get it out. I got to get it out. I got to see what it looks like. What I might do with this too. So for like every other wrap, I might just go ahead and put a couple of lines in it like that. That's just to help show these things are wrapped tight. throwing this thing off. This smoothing feature is... See, in the previous Toon Boom program, it would smooth as you draw. It wouldn't try to pre-draw for you. And it might be a feature. It might just be a feature that I'm dealing with, that I need to just find it and turn it off or something, honestly. I'm thinking now, like, maybe I need to make some more lines connect into... And then maybe these lines just aren't doing anything as much as I would like. Actually, let's just delete all these lines for right now. I don't feel like they're really giving me the effect I would want. I feel like the problem here too is that it wouldn't be so... It needs to flatten out a little bit. Kind of like that. Maybe turn it a little bit. Let's see. Yeah, that's about it. What I need to do now, need to kind of show. Yeah, this might be a little too smooth. Might be trying to smooth it too much. I might have to come back and do something with these wraps, these bandages. See, the problem here now is that the detail gets lost a little bit. Let's just leave it for now and just move on to the flame part, because I have a feeling I'm probably looking at this just a little too hard. I need to let it go, let it live, let it breathe just a little bit. I said that and then I started messing with it again. Alright, let's actually move on to the flames now. So this is going to be tricky because we're going to have to kind of... We're still going to follow what we drew here. But now we're going to... We got to make it make sense. Because a lot of these lines don't really make a lot of sense. And then while we're at it, we can put some shapes in it to show the color. Because even though flames are generally your orangish red with stuff like that, you do have some like yellows in the middle and stuff, so I love drawing these little wisps. At the same time, these are like the hardest parts because there's such random shapes, and it's like, how can I make it look like fire? this right here. Now it's starting to merge into these other shapes a little bit. I need to make it kind of make sense a little. Okay, here we go. So that's one shape right there. Can't overcomplicate this too much. Need to just kind of draw it out. Just draw it as it is. This is where I think I'm gonna connect these two. You know, I had this idea of drawing a spear too, but I don't really have I don't have an image of the spear in my mind. Not like how I did this. I think I probably need to cut this one off. Nope. Kind of like this here, and then I need to see the full shape of this. So right there and right there. Is that possible to be done? Possibly. Like that. I'm gonna definitely have to do some shapes in the middle of those. This beat's kind of hot, I ain't gonna lie. Nah, we'll make that a full flame. even sure what shapes I was drawing in that. I'm trying to follow some of this, but it's like, man, what even is happening in this spot right here? Nope. I would rather for the flames to not overlap each other, if at all possible. Is my issue. Nope. Kind of like that. Save. Cool. The problem is we have a nice little section right here that's missing. I'm just kind of adding some of my own little extra spurs and corners to it as well. Bam. What about right here? What's going on here? Unfortunately, it's not exactly what I wanted, but I think it's still a really great concept come to life. Following it to a T was not possible. I think we still got something really great here. I will draw some of these colors. We got a little bit of overlap right here, but that's fine. Oh, let's make sure we do. When I say colors, this is actually more like a it's probably going to be cutouts of where the flame is not actually touching. And then, you know, you can draw some billowing. Action lines. It's all about the action lines. It's all about how you get it to look outside of the just the aesthetics of the sword itself. The action lines are gonna bring it in, you know. So actually, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take the these original drawings and I'm gonna shrink them down before we start coloring. I'm gonna make them fit right in this screen right here. Draw big. I remember my teacher, Mr. Riches, back in high school. He used to tell me. I mean, I think he was the one that recognized that I like to draw big. You like to draw really big. Like, do that, draw big. You know. I think I embraced it at that point. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna draw to the scale that I see in my head. You know, to the scale that I see this needs to be. You know. What I don't like in this right here, now I'm scaling everything down. It doesn't fit. Well, that's fine. It doesn't fit the same size of the sword itself. It's going off screen a little bit. So tell you what, let's bring this down some then. Kind of like that. Perfect. That's much better. And let's bring this down some. Save. See, the problem is now the details are getting lost a little bit. I'll tell you what, let's bring this back. Let's keep it exactly this size here. Alright, so I'm going to take this now, bring it here to another drawing, and then we're going to flatten it. No, first we're going to convert it to vector. Save. Then we'll flatten it. So now that it's flattened, it's ready to color. So let's bring our paintbrush out. Let's just go straight to the red. Let's get to it. Let's protect the black. So that we can go ahead and do everything in black, everything in red that we want without the black being affected. For some reason, this whole thing is coloring in. Everything should be vectored. Surprised it wasn't. Interesting. For some reason, some of the shapes got missed. But we fixed that. You know, I think I like the color red for the flames in this. Instead of the oranges and everything like that. Red really gives off that powerful feeling of the flames, you know. Now this is where I'm going to probably go to the internet to look for some ideas for colors, because this is where I'm kind of like lost on what that generally looks like. So looks like we got a little bit of a maybe like a golden brown kind of going on, which is, that's going to be a tough color to grab. Golden. Perhaps something closer to... Well, look at that. We already have like a gold right here a little bit. for every space in between the wraps, it's going to be gold. I wonder what it would look like to have red, or maybe black. Maybe it needs to be black. Nah, black's not working either. We gotta find some colors here. We're losing right now. Let's see. Like a dark silver. No, that's not gonna work either. We gotta figure something out, because this ain't gonna work. What other colors of the rainbow are there? We might run into a problem of the perhaps this gold again. So when I originally did this, the bandages being white, I was really going for like a something kind of like this, like a dirty, what we might have to do is just go ahead and get the colors down packed, just get them in, and then come back and do colors again later, or just change the colors to something else after the fact. But as long as we get something in there, that might be all that we need. See, the problem is the fire might be too spaced out. Let's do this. Let's make another layer under it. Let's see if we can do something. Just to kind of help show. Alright, let's try this again. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna use a non-smooth. We'll do something where we're showing shit. That was a great line too. That. And the aim of doing this right now is this is an experiment. I've never done this part before. We're just going to see how well this really balances out the empty space versus the positive space of the actual flames themselves. Just make sure all the lines are connected, because if it's not, then we're going to start having problems when we try to color. But what's that? Let's make sure. But for this, we're gonna make the color. Let's do this right here. Let's make it this color. Ooh, I kind of like that. It kind of marries the entire thing together. But what if we made the entire thing that orangey color? But even more so, what if we made it more of a yellow? Closer to that yellow. Yellowishy orange. And then oh shoot, did we do the wrong one? Did we color the wrong one? Oh man, we did color the wrong one. Oh well. And then you can make some of these lines here the actual we'll just leave it as is for right now. What we might need to do also is make another layer on top of, and then draw some lines and stuff. Nothing really crazy, you know? Nah, I don't think I care for that too much. But what I don't really care for is some of these colors down here on this hilt. It's really throwing me off. What about black? I try not to do black too much on stuff. Do some more interesting colors besides black all the time. Honestly, so let's try this, because I think maybe red is the right color, but maybe the red here is the problem that we're dealing with. Maybe it's too red. Something like that right there. Whereas this red down here, That's closer. I ain't gonna lie. Ooh, turn that up right there. Right there. I hope that's not too loud. I know it's close to the mic, but what about white? What about just a stronger version of white right here? Honestly, do we even need a hilt though? Let's try this. Okay. Okay. Oh, shoot, the black. I'm like, why won't it let go? Like that. What if it was a different kind of hilt, right? I'm not sure we can get away from it. Not the way I'm thinking of. The problem is, honestly, you know what? We might just be running to a block here where it's just not gonna be. It's not gonna be anything more than this. I think this is it. This is about as far as I can take this. But what we're gonna do first is we're gonna make sure we give it a proper background. That's another thing my teacher taught me. It's like the drawing, the composition is not just the. It's not just the image, the subject itself. Is also the it's everything else as well. It's everything's the background, the foreground, everything like that. Purple might be way too strong here. You know, I think I'm about done with this part. I'm about done with that. Alright, so with that being said, let's get to the main event here. Which is Phalandroids. Looks like my music is about to stop. It's like, man, he's moping. It's like, this isn't fun at all. Is dating really this terrible? He's like, yeah, but he's laying here. Let's make sure we have non-smooth. Set it up. Alright, so I got the script over here. Phil's on the phone with Greg. Greg is like, yeah, bud, welcome to adulthood. So he's like, yeah, bud. But in this hand, he's gonna have some chips and things. He's like, yeah, bud. This is gonna come down some, actually. We're gonna see him here. He's gonna hold the chips a little bit, and then we're gonna come down. He's gonna move the chips here. And then we'll have a second like that, and then we're gonna turn his head. He's gonna be like, ah. And then he drops it in. Nah. We'll actually take this same layer, we'll copy it, but what we're gonna do now, we're gonna leave the hand as is. No, we'll move the hand back just to show that he is in motion. But then we're gonna delete all this, delete this mouth. Let's get the previous scene, and then we'll show his mouth is gonna be munching. And we'll copy this, bring it here, and then we'll change the beard again. So he's like, yeah, bud, and then he drops the food in his mouth, and then we have a couple of screens, a couple of frames of him just eating like that. Man, it's crazy how fast the frames are used up in this aspect. It's like I've done copies and it's still like not enough. They want to have him turn back. We're going to copy this one, put it here. We're going to open his eyes. And he's going to be like, welcome. It's awesome how well that actually lined up. I wasn't even trying to do that. He's like, well, and then his hand is going to be, well, copy this, put it here. The hand's gonna go away. We're gonna shift the mouth a little bit because he's still talking with his mouth full. But his mouth is gonna be closed this time. Well, I'm gonna copy this back. But in this one, the hand's gonna be gone. All come to adulthood. But we gotta extend this a little bit more. It's like, yeah, welcome to adulthood. And then he goes back to eating his food a little bit more again. Then we'll paste it as a new drawing. But with his eyes open. Oh. And the hand gone. Let's make sure we didn't mess up any other parts of the files. Perfect. A couple more frames of him eating his food. If we need to reduce it down, we can always do that later. We can come back. And what's next? What does he say next? Welcome to adulthood. I'm done after this. I'm hanging it up. So we'll actually go back to what I want to do. I want to do like a split view of the two of them. Excuse me. I want to do like a something kind of like that. Well, that's gonna be tough because on one side I'm gonna have Phil doing all this stuff, and he's gonna be like, I'm hanging it up, and he's gonna be pushing on the frame. Like, no, I'm done with it. And he's pushing on the, like, breaking the fourth wall. He's gonna be pushing on the frame. And then Greg, he's gonna be sitting there eating, and he's like, what? And he's like pushing back or whatever. I think that could be really cool. So it's gonna be something kind of like I need to copy. I think it's gonna be this scene right here. Somewhere like right there. Like that. And then in this frame, we'll have Greg still sitting on the couch, eating. Let's actually put it in a different frame so we can actually cut this out appropriately. Kind of like that. Take it and put it back right here. So we're doing like a split screen kind of thing. actually take this line and we'll put it here. What we actually might need to do is split it up just a little bit more. And then we'll take Phil from this scene. Put him right here, sitting. Stacy. And then we'll have him right here, like this. Keep it chill. Keep it chill. Keep it easy. There's not going to be a hand. And there's not going to be any of this either. Damn. Which is going to make it really easy to draw because it's going to be very little to actually see. Just going to see his head. I want more of his head in the screen though. Something like that. Yeah. It does feel like it's so one-sided though. I ain't gonna lie. Let's put them on the same layer here. Kind of like that. That's it. Like that there. No, no, no. Fix the lines here. Bam. Like that. There we go. And then we'll have, let's see. I'm done after this one. I'm hanging it up. So this is where Phil's gonna come. Nope. Let's extend this all the way down. And we'll do one more quick drawing and then we'll call it. And I'll just pick up the live stream another time. It's perfect song to end out on, seems like. Phil's gonna be like, actually, I'll probably put Greg on a different layer. He's gonna get really expressive. This one's like, It needs to be a little bit more narrow. It needs to be like an angry expressive. Yeah, like that. He's like, well, I'm done after this one. Well, I'm done after this one. This is where he's going to push back against the screen. Scoot over. And the screen is actually gonna that's gonna last for like 2 seconds. And then Greg is gonna push back. And then this is some tricky planning. But we're gonna get it though. That's actually kind of it right there, honestly. Yeah, he pushes it back and he goes back to normal. there. So we'll extend it one more layer. And then here, this is where we're going to have it goes back to normal. This is where it feels kind of like it's being a little bratty. Kind of like that. Perfect. Let's just put the script in there and then we'll end it off. So in the script, it's like, well, I'm done. After this one, I'm hanging it up. What we need to do now is make sure got enough spacing and that we're actually putting everything in here that's supposed to be. And then I can easily come back and fix all of this in between. Filling that in, and then I'm gonna come and actually draw another quick scene of Phil transitioning to something like that. So the way the scene plays out, and this is gonna be a really long act too. So he's like just sitting there, like mulling to himself. He's like, excuse me. This isn't fun at all. Dating is terrible. It is terrible. Yeah, but it's like much. Welcome to adulthood. Much. It's like, well, I'm done. After this one, I'm hanging it up. And he's like, growl. Anger, push. I can do better. I can do better. All right. And I think that's it for now. We done spent probably about 2 hours on this. We can pick it up another time. Do some more drawing, do some more illustration and things like that. But I think we got a great stop point. So until next time, later.